happy Saturday. Welcome to the Advocates for Action 2.0 Community Coffee. I am Kimberly Holmes Ross from Evanston Cradle to Career, where we partner with over 40 agencies to make Evanston the most equitable place it can be. In Evanston, it's been tough times since we signed off last Saturday. We have lost two giants in our community, two pastors who fought for equity, for education, for jobs. Pastor Webb and Pastor Effiam, you will be sorely missed. We also lost a young person to gun violence. His mom was in our Family Focus program, longtime Evanston family. We heard for them. So before we get started this morning with our special guest, Superintendent Dr. Horton, I'm going to ask his board member, our advocate for action, alumni member, Minister Marquise. Will she just ground us in a moment of prayer before we get started? She didn't know I was going to ask her this.
That's all right. Always ready. Let us pray. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you today. We thank you for life, health, and strength today. But God, now we come to you just asking for healing of our land, of our community, God. Just be with us, Lord. Lord, continue to watch over our children. God, continue to give us guidance. God, continue to allow us to stick together, oh God, that we would be able to overcome all of the hurdles and the struggles that our community faces. But we trust you in all things. And we just ask that you continue to walk with us and keep us. In Jesus' name, cover the city of Evanston and the surrounding areas, our families, our children, our educators, our leaders. God, we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Marquise. I know I needed that this morning. I appreciate you always. All right, myself together here. Welcome to our community coffee. Dr. Horton has agreed to come on with us this morning in his busy schedule. He fit us in, and he just wanted to give us kind of a checkup to see what's going on. We've been in school a few weeks. I know we're excited to know how it's going. This is real different, kind of a come back to school year. We're coming back in a pandemic. So thank you for coming on, Dr. Horton. And what's going on?
Thank you for having me, Kim. This is it's been awesome. I would say the kickoff that the Advocates in Action and in partnership with the districts and the city that you all pulled off a few weeks back was still amazing. I had a chance to participate in both events, but I love the way that what we did. It connected resources with the community. It was really powerful, well received, and that gave me and my family just more inspiration that we do have the support of the community to get this school thing going right. So thank you for that. And then again, I would also like to say, just to see bold, brave, and beautiful Black people on this call, ready to make change, right? And so this is important for me. Anytime I'm invited to join in the conversation and share what we're doing in our district, I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. So don't think that this is me clearing my schedule. This is part of my responsibility as a superintendent, but also just as a citizen, right? To be able to do that. So anytime, never think that I'm too busy for it. The other thing, just the school year. I can't believe I'm ready to say, but we're ready to start week 4. And the elephant in the room, how our mitigation metrics working out. I would give us I don't want to jinx myself, and I don't want my board member to get me for this, but I would give us a solid B. We're doing pretty good. And I'm being humble when I say a B. They're going to be COVID cases, right? It's going to happen. There's no way to avoid it. But the way we've been able to handle that with our communication, with our process and our contact tracing, it's been phenomenal. Lunch, of course, you all are aware, has been like the biggest thing, going on in the school. So we've been able to organize and put some things in place where lunch is safe. We also have tents. I know the weather's getting cooler, but we have tents that will be going up in the middle part of next week. We were finally able to find them. I'm kind of like, if I wasn't a superintendent, I should have opened up me a tent store because they're hard to find and they cost a lot of money, but we were able to find it. And so we're thankful So all of our elementary schools, our 10 will have tents for them to have lunch outdoors if they choose, and we still give the principals the flexibility to modify and structure the way that they need. We have our enrollment is going, it's climbing back up. During the pandemic of last year, we lost roughly 700 something students, but we've been able to recoup close to 600 of them already, and they're still coming. And some of the things I don't know, as parents on this call, if you've been impacted by this, but due to the COVID mitigations and being safe, some of our schools at certain grade bands have maxed out because we can only have so many students in a room according to the 3-foot spacing. And we've been giving parents the option to attend one of our great magnet schools. They have the room to go in, but once COVID goes away, and I believe that it will at some point, we will be able to get families that's in your neighborhood and you want to return back to your neighborhood school. We definitely we have a waiting list that we've created. We'll give you your spot back. It's just really how do we get our students in school safely and keeping our staff in the same place. Our teachers have been phenomenal. They've been locked in. We've been working with some things internally in the district with our unions to make sure that we can offer. While Evanston has been good in the past, we want to make Evanston great, and we want to make it great for all students. And so there are some things that we're doing. You may have heard us talk about the academic skill centers. That this is a structure where we know that the best support for students is Tier 1 instruction. We know that. But we also know, and we have to be honest with ourselves. We just had students that we were not reaching and we were not connecting with. And so we created these academic skill centers. So this is in every single one of our schools. And what's going to happen, parents will be notified and they can opt out to say, we're going to pull your child out for literacy and math and executive functioning support once a week, but you won't miss your ELA class or your math class. It will be an option to say, all right, PE not every day, or one of your fine arts classes is not every day. It's not that we don't value this. We just know that these are there are opportunities that we get, and the research is telling us students who are marginalized typically don't have, in many cases, the resources to actually get tutoring outside of school, and then they have to sacrifice the other part. So we have to figure out a way to partner with our teachers to give them some additional support. And so that is one of the things that we're doing. And then we're just like our culture and climate, we're really heavy on our SEL this year. We know that students and families and parents and the adults have been at home for a long time. And some people just couldn't wait to get out, right? It's like being trapped in a cage. So I'm happy to be out too, so I can go in schools and see students. And we wanted to be sure that we didn't penalize and punish students for working and learning the transition. If you think about it, if you're in kindergarten, first or second, you really haven't had a true school experience. And so we have to be conscious of that and cognizant. So, and if you're in middle school, COVID first hit when students were in 6th grade, now they're 8th graders, right? In that March of their, they were ending their 6th grade year. So now they're in school for the first time with all these weird spacings and rules. And so we're working with them, and we got to be supportive. I know there are going to be a ton of questions about this, but I am just honored to say that our team, and with the support of our board, we have found a way to fund a school if our student assignment planning, master facility planning, and strategic plan lays out that way. Wink, wink. I'm sure that it will lead that way. But to be honest, we have found a way to fund the Fifth Ward School, and I'm sure that's something that we'll talk about. And there's some other great people, some other great brothers just trying to find ways to do the same thing. And there's going to be some time where we come together and organize. But I'm excited. I know that question is coming, so I won't steal anyone's thunder on that particular question there. So that's just my little update. It's a lot I can talk about, but I felt those were like the main things that would be important to share with you all this morning.
So much to talk about. Absolutely. And that Fifth Ward School, we're here for it. We want to hear all about it. So we're definitely going to give you the time and space to think about it. Welcome our Facebook family. Thank you guys for watching. We did have a question that I'm going to take off Facebook before I get to the advocates. They want to know how the mental health of not just students, but teachers, how we're addressing that. Has that been an issue? I know it's big around the country. What are you seeing show up at 60?
So right now, our teaching staff, our educators, they've been warriors. They have their own, we all have our own families and things that's going on in the school. And so we've eased into the school year, with helping them to build their relationships. Most of our educators who go into the field, if not all of them, it does something when you get a student in front of you, right? It kind of changes your feelings and your vibe and your energy. So we've been working with our teachers consistently. Yes, we want to not lose the target and the focus of moving outcomes for our students, for all of them, from our highs to our mids to our students who have not done this. And so we're putting some supports around like professional learning communities. Let's collaborate more as teachers, right? That's something that came out in our 5 essential survey at some of our schools where the collaboration structures were not as strong. Like it's nothing. When you're trying to build this work and to do the work, you can't do it alone. So we have intentionally that's one of our targets this year. We put our goals. Every school is launching professional learning communities weekly. And that means these grade level teachers come together. Yes, they talk about academics, they talk about their lesson planning, but they have an opportunity to brainstorm with each other. That's a best practice for not just in the field of education, but in most professionals. We've also been working with them. If you recall, I probably should have said this, but 2 weeks ago, the board approved a resolution for us to mandate vaccination or be subject to doing monthly, weekly testing. 3 days later, the state came in and did the same thing, and they trumped our timeline. So they moved it up a little sooner than what we were trying to push for. And so now we are we're trying to make sure that they are safe, that we show flexibility, and we're still doing some impact bargaining with some of the small things that's important to our educators. So we're working with them as closely as we can under these conditions and really trying to balance the best of being compassionate, which I know last year we were extremely compassionate with our educators. We gave them a choice to work from home for the whole first semester, considering while other districts were making people come back. We didn't do that. And then in the second semester was about doing the exemption. And so we were really flexible. And now we are trying to transition everyone back into the mindset of this could be the new norm, and we can't continue to stall and delay teaching and learning. So we have to find a way to make school happen. And I think that's what we're doing. Not perfect, but we're working collectively as an organization to do that.
Absolutely. And you guys are working hard, and your board is working hard. I'm a little biased. I love the board. And Marquise, tell us how the board is going. How is it, new board member?
Well, it has been a very humbling experience for me. I'm so excited to be able to serve my community in this capacity. We have so many exciting things going on in the board. We have been able to, see our children go back to school. As Dr. Horton says, I will safely say I would give our return to school a solid B as well. In regards to the mental stability at this point, because I do have children in the district and in different schools. Like I've heard that the children they're adapting well. They're adapting well. They're enjoying the fact that they're being with their peers, and we are enjoying the fact that they're able to engage with one another safely. Our board is looking forward to what is to come. As we just said, the big thing is this Fifth Ward School and the student assignment project that Sarita Smith has led and done so wonderfully to put together. Our board is just really looking at the potential of what we can accomplish right now, and just going, obviously, safely being able to engage all of our students and our families and just continue to strive for academic excellence at this time.
Well, thank you for your service. And you just know, every time I'm watching, I'm grinning, I'm bursting with pride. You guys are doing a wonderful job. So thank you so much. All right, advocates, your turn. I'm going to go to Amber first to see what she'd like to have.
Greetings, Dr. Horton, Marquise.
All right.
And my question actually was about the Fifth Ward School. I was born and raised in the Fifth Ward, and I have heard so many stories my whole life about foster school and what foster school was like. And yeah, I just really wanted to know more about where, well, you answered some of the question already that you've located a building, but how soon do you anticipate the school opening?
Marquise, if it's okay, I'll go first. You know, I've been charged, and my team, we've been charged with moving this along as rapidly as we could, but don't do it without getting the voice of the community. And so some of the things, there's a survey that's getting ready to be launched. You all will receive, and it's a combination of the survey is tied to student assignment planning, and our student assignment planning, for clarity, it's a few pieces to this. It's focused on looking at our programming. We've had the ACC program in our district for so long, and it has not moved in any other building, right? Why not? Like, why aren't we looking to do that? Special education programming. Why do we have certain programs? If you live across the street from one of our campuses and there's a specific service that you need, you have to get on a bus and go to another school, right? So it's going to focus on programming. We're also focusing on when we think about the boundaries, typically best practice should be addressed every 5 to 7 years. We have not addressed attendance boundary. This board is not accepting this. We have not addressed it since 1995. And so that's one of the priorities that we're also addressing. Now, with that comes the design for, when we talk about busing, the Fifth Ward School. The Fifth Ward School it's bigger than just the Fifth Ward. What it means for our community is that it's going to have an impact if this is a decision that's made that will reroute and restructure. And you're going to see some questions in the survey that we release next week that's going to make you think, like, do you value equity over access to schools, right? Do you value proximity to your home over diversity? These are going to be questions that we're asking the community and families and staff to wrestle with. And we're going to take this data, and once this comes back, then there's some additional work that the Student Assignment Planning Committee is doing. Sarita has been awesome in that role to really lead. She's a Fifth Ward, former Fifth Ward resident, I think currently still, and she's been able to lead that and help us to navigate some of the political pieces around this. And it's been great. Our board has been giving great feedback to members who participated, side conversations, just with other members in the community. It has been all great to be able to do it. So let me get to the nitty gritty. Here's what we're doing. I was a little shocked. Let me just make this sad side statement. When we announced and spoke about the process that we have to fund the Fifth Ward School if we needed it, I really thought it was going to be some kind of parade in the community. So once we talk about this today, let's get this out, right? I want to make sure that people know, like, this is a big deal. And I know our audio was a little messed up, the wrong day and the only day that we've had messed up audio, but it was a little bad. So I'm going to share this. Here's what we have, and I'm going to talk in layman's terms because this is the best way I understand it. So we spend a little over $4 million a year in transporting students. About 2.3 to 2.5 million of that is spent to transport students out of the Fifth Ward to those other schools, right? It's a process called a lease certificate. The lease certificate allows us, so imagine us being able to do this without raising taxes, right? That's how powerful that could be. Without us having to borrow, without us having to get donors, right? Getting donors is awesome, but that comes with a process and a dance, song and dance that you have to do sometimes. And it's necessary when you have to do it. I get it. But this time, the lease certificate allows us to take that $2.3 to $2.5 million, and the bank will give us $37 million. We'll sell bonds. We'll be able to sell our bonds. Then they'll give us $37 million, and we're able to pay back $2.3 to $2.5 million a year, like a mortgage for a school. And we'll be able to build the school brand new, and then they give us a 2-year deferred payment. That means we could build that school for 2 years without having to make a payment, which is perfect for us because we wouldn't have the $2.3 million to pay while we're building. And the most important one, the board will have to do a resolution. It's not a vote from the community because the board is the community. They got voted by the community members, but it's a board resolution. And then it'll go through the process. And then once approved, ideally, when we're trying to target everything to come together with student assignment planning recommendation, master facility planning, which is going to look at what buildings need to be, attendance boundaries, facility updates, all of that. They'll give us all of this in this process. And then the strategic plan. Once that's done, and we get right to that finish line, it's targeting, I would say, early spring of 2022. That's our goal, to push everything on the table and move forward and get the board and educate the community and put everything in the hands of our board, what they need to know to make the right decision and a vote for it. And then it'll go from there. So a dream of mine and our team, I would love to say that potentially if we do this right and I know we are going to do it right, and it shows that this is what's needed. And I have to speak that way because it's honest. I want to get the community voice. We want to see what the surveys are saying. We want to see what the master facility planning is showing us. We could potentially be breaking ground sometime in 2022. So there's just something I wanted to share. So, Marquise, did you want to talk to them a little bit about the location if we are going to do that, Marquise?
So, to be honest with you, Dr. Horton, it's not been. I don't think I was shared that information.
I'm just going to say this. This is the area that's targeted, and I say a question. The area that's been targeted, if this is to come true, will be right there across from Foster School. That's District 65. We own the land there, and we're this is an opportunity to work together collaboratively. And this is the idea of some other individuals in the community. And I think it's great to build it more like a campus idea, and we being able to work through that. But I do believe, and the goal is, unless the board says, we could do something different or do it differently, I would love for us to build a state-of-the-art school, one of the best, and hopefully in the state of Illinois, right here in the Fifth Ward, if that's what the findings show.
That would be absolutely amazing. That was my question. Was it going to be a new build, or was it going to be in an existing building? Really exciting stuff. And you're right, it deserves a parade. This is a long time coming. I have a couple comments in the chat. Awesome. We've been waiting for this, and we hope. We've had a lot of false starts.
Yeah.
On in this Fifth Ward, and we are really being hopeful and optimistic, but we have had some false starts. Is this going to be a K through 5? Is it going to be a K through 8? What does it look like? We
will know that once we get through gathering all of our data. Okay. We'll know. Of course, all of us probably have a vision in our head, right, of what it could be. But we're going to really land on what the data is showing us, looking at our numbers, and really leaning into that master facility plan heavily.
Okay.
There's a question. And Donna? Yep.
Good morning, Dr. Horton.
Morning.
Thank you so much for meeting with us this morning. And I want to first thank you for spearheading a lot of the initiatives that you've done thus far since you've been with the district. I actually wasn't going to ask any questions about the Fifth Ward School, but because you stated a number of things, I just have some questions in response to some of the things that you stated. Now, I am a Fifth Ward resident currently. I am a fifth generation Fifth Warder. And I would definitely love for there to be a school back into the Fifth Ward. My mother, my grandmother, my great aunts and uncles all went to Foster School. Okay. I did hear amazing things about Foster School, prior to it closing. But my question, I do have other questions regarding, map testing and access and so on, but I'll ask that later. But in regards to funding the Fifth Ward School, you mentioned that, and I've heard it from other board members, specifically the president, Anya, stating that there would be no need to request any more funding from the public after there was the referendum a few years back.
Right.
But considering that I do have a background in finance, I just felt that it was necessary to try to maybe possibly better understand what it is that the district is trying to do. because if bonds are issued, the public would eventually have to pay that money back. It's as if you're taking out a loan and you have to pay it back. So that money would have to be paid back.
Yeah.
Secondly, in regards to taking money from the busing, if students are no longer being transported out of the Fifth Ward, $2.5 to $3 million is a pretty good chunk. As well as, you know, additional money coming from the money that's given by the you know, the state of Illinois for each student. But considering that you stated $37 million, and I know that there is a young man by the name of Henry Wilkins who's been doing an amazing job and is a great friend of mine, working towards trying to create STEM School Evanston. I know that he was looking to also have a school built in the Fifth Ward, and I have been following you closely. And you mentioned that you would prefer that it be something that's controlled by the district.
Yes.
Considering the amount of money that's being proposed, would you not think it would be best that it's a private-public partnership? Because $37 million worth of bonds is a lot of money. And even if the district refinances the current bond issues, it really depends on what the current interest rates are as to how much would actually be saved. I know I'm going a little bit far into things, but I was just, you know, I was really concerned about that. And then I'll let you go ahead and answer if you don't have all the answers now.
I got them all. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's the main part. I'm the superintendent and is the school board for the city of Evanston, Skokie. We have a responsibility to make sure that when you get into the private public sector, there's a gray area in that design where, for example, if you bring, and this is, I think it's phenomenal in the attempts. And I really didn't want to talk about STEM School Evanston because that's not my responsibility, but I'm just going to say this. For us as a school district, when we talk about facilities, if we're going to pay a mortgage in that building, it's either the 2.3 million we keep busing kids, or we spend the money to pay for the building. A private public partnership does not necessarily automatically help us with the other issues that we have within the district. And this is why I was saying in the conversation, this is bigger than just the Fifth Ward. This is district-wide design where we have to make sure that there are other implications that will come from designing and building a new school that will impact this community in other ways. The other part is in a situation versus leasing a building versus owning it. We all know the ultimate dream is to own your home. Why would the community not want to own their campus? And at some point, if there's funding that you could get donors to donate money, I think there's another opportunity for us to partner as a district with Mr. Wilkins and find other ways to potentially put STEM labs in other campuses across the district. Because the South End, there are Black and brown families on that end. There are students over in Orrington that will benefit from that, and from Haven. So I'm thinking, we're talking about preschool. We have a waiting list that's extremely long. That's extremely a pretty large waiting list. Why wouldn't we be able to think about potentially adding pre-K classrooms to a few of our elementary schools, right? If we're able to move students from one campus to bring them to the Fifth Ward and put those early childhood or preschool classrooms in our campuses, and you think about vertical alignment. And then the other part is when you're leasing, you lease forever. And where does that money go, right? We know when we pay that, I'm gonna call it a mortgage, with the bond back, it's going to eventually, everyone on this call, I don't know about you all, but in 23 years, I'm sure I won't be here. Or in 20 years, I'm sure I won't be here. I'll be in 60 somewhere, chilling hopefully. But it's an opportunity to leave a gift for the students and the families of the Fifth Ward, but also for the students. And then in 20 years, you already automatically get this $2.3 to $2.5 million surplus into the district that will be long-standing and continue to grow and feed and take care of our families. So I think what Mr. Wilkins, his idea prior to us putting the lease certificate on the table, it was phenomenal positioning and phenomenal structure what was being brought to the table. but the amount of money that it takes to put the right school in this community for us to turn our nose up and say, we're not going to be frivolous, we're not going to be loose with the dollars. We want to build the right structure and so that we can have those programs. But I do believe, again, that we can still partner with Mr. Wilkins and do some other things that's rather unique with STEM across the district. And I have not had a chance to talk to him yet about that particular idea, but we have had a few meetings. And again, hats off to all of his efforts and the people that's been in this corner to do that. But now we have another way, right? So there's the bonding piece where we can fund the Fifth Ward School if that's what the findings say. And then there's also the idea if that money can be raised, now let's really accelerate the learning here in 65 with some other opportunities where that for the 501(c) could still be impactful and helpful for our community and still get some of the same and still have some of the same outcomes that we all desire to happen, which is to provide great resources, great engagement opportunities for our most marginalized students here in 65.
Well, we appreciate you owning it, Dr. Horton, and making sure, we know you're responsible for the whole city and the whole community, but making sure that this Fifth Ward is going to have a school, something that we've been looking for a long time. I just want to touch really quickly on the community surveys. I wanted to ask now, will those just go to parents? Is it going to go to the whole community? I was in a meeting and I was surprised, and my numbers may be wrong, that there are only 25% of the residents with school-age children in Evanston. Is that number right?
Oh,
wow.
So that's common in most districts. Okay. It seems like because everyone cares about education, so you get people who don't have children and they're paying taxes, right? So it's going to go to, it don't just go to the parents, it goes to everyone that we have information for. Parents, of course, staff, and community members. We know our community, some of our biggest advocates, right, in our programming, some of them, the biggest ones, don't have children in the district, and it would be selfish of us to not include them and get their voice. So you're right. That number's about right. 25%. Yeah.
And the advocates will support any kind of survey. We're really good at that, right, Marquise? Any kind of surveying support you need. We'd be happy to do that. We know how to get in there and get to those communities because we're surveyed to death, right? We get a lot of surveys, but there's a unique way that sometimes you can get those answers from the people that you need. So I'm speaking for the group, but we will be happy to help. Are there any more questions for Dr. Horton or Marquise?
Yes.
Okay, Dawn.
So you had mentioned also support for English language learners, ESL program. Mm-hmm. And I know that during the pandemic, when the students were at home learning, it was stated in one of the board meetings that the Spanish language students were not doing as well at home because they typically learn better in groups, whereas the African American / Black children were actually doing far better academically while at home. Now, considering that historically over the past, I believe, maybe 40 some odd years or more, there's been an issue with the academic achievement gap for the Black students. Since they were doing well during the pandemic, what has been put in place or what will be put in place to give them further support so that they could improve academically for the African American and Black students? And then secondly, for the English language learners, what added support are you going to give them since they were falling behind during the pandemic while they were at home?
Yep. I got a double response for that. First, I'm going to just talk about for our teachers right now, and really, it's not just teachers, for our administrators, for all of us, we are really working to refine and identify. We had a meeting with board leadership and union leadership, and we were talking and we discussed. This is going to answer one part of your question. What does equity look like for a teacher? And so that question lends itself to a few things. When we talk about equity in the classroom, what are those moves? So some actions. One being, do we have best practices around instruction that we've trained and supported our teachers in? or that we adopted from other teachers who've been successful? Are we looking at, are we analyzing student data consistently, strategically? And are we coming together collectively as I spoke about our PLCs, having discussions about student performance on assessments that are aligned to our curriculum? We just rewrote our social studies curriculum, right? And we're getting ready to do some release this month. And we are paying attention to when we create and build new curriculum, do we have assessments that measure the outcomes of the curriculum that we expect students to know? And then we also have to think about teachers restructuring, understanding how to dissect, differentiate within their classrooms, helping write and create high quality lesson plans. We have teachers that do it really well. And we have some that are fairly new that need support in that. So we're talking about best practice. When we say equity as a classroom teacher, your best practice has to be A game. That's the first level. And that's the tier 1 instruction that I spoke about earlier on the call. The second order of business, when we talk about those students who, even when we have teachers that are doing all those great things and they have not been able to meet the mark, and let's just be honest, like you said, this has been 40 years for many of our students. We have what we built these academic skills center. Could you imagine? And I'm asking, all of us are parents on this call, or I think we are. If I was to ask you all on this call, if you could put your child during a school day and they don't miss reading, they don't miss math, into Sylvan learning during the school day, and they miss art for 9 weeks or PE, then they go back into PE or art after the 9-week cycle, would you do it? So I know that was like, why would you? Yes, of course, we're all gonna do that. So we built we're building these academic skill centers so that those students who have not been able to, the 25 to 50% range in MAP, who've not been able to meet. And it's not the students who've not been able to meet. I'm an advocate for saying students do not fail. It's the systems that we create to fail students. And so we have failed as an organization in some areas. We've won in some areas. So I just wanted to highlight, we have the intervention piece for students to work on that gap, because you can't keep doing school the same and don't think you're going to extend the learning of the kid. If they go to ELA, get tier 1 instruction, go to math, get tier 1 instruction. And then you give them a 45 to 50-minute block of tutoring with not just learning how to do numeracy and literacy work, but also the executive functioning skills around how to organize, how to take notes, how to study. I'm being honest, I didn't learn that stuff till I got to high school. We have to equip our students with those skills so that they can be phenomenal, like moving forward. And that is like those questions. I really enjoy you asking that, because what we're doing with our EL students, we've gotten really intentional around adult support. We have not only increased and improved like some of our programs. We put some of our EL programs in 2 additional schools this year, which is that's our goal. We don't want students having to travel to just these 3 schools in the district. We would like these programs to be placed in every campus, so you don't have to go and leave your home. So that our goal is to get those programs in every school over the next 5 years, if we can. Right, that's a starter. The second one is that we're adopting for the first time I'm going to go with our TWE programming. We've adopted actually curriculum, or I should say not a resource that's actually written for two-way immersion versus taking an ELA in English and converting it to Spanish. Right. We've been able to do that. And so that is a huge lift for us. Eureka Math also they have their whole math unit written in Spanish as well. So we're moving in the right direction. We're not there yet in Dona, but we are making the right strides. And we've also here's another thing I didn't talk about. We have instructional coaches in every single school now. That is huge. The model prior that was in place was coaches were housed downtown. You have to call or reach out with an email if you wanted to get coached. No, we have to change that model, and we have to be more collaborative. And we're a public school system, so we got to have public practice, not private. And we're working on building that culture. That's not easy, because some have been in the district for a while and they've been able to go in their room and shut their doors and work the way they work, right? But if they're doing good things, we want to see that and we want to share. If you're doing things that's not good for students, and we want to see that so we can support and coach and help you. So that's another thing I want to point out. We have really worked hard to increase the number of Black and Latinx leaders that's running our schools in the central office. Like that is important. We always talk about having teachers that look like our students and that can relate. We also have to have leaders that can do the same thing. And so we now have, when I came into the district, we have 5 out of our 18 school leaders were a minority. A year later, 10 of them out of the 18 are now minority. And that's not, they were not hired because they were minority. They were hired because of their talent and their skills. Our our director of special education, she's Latina, right? Amazing, right? To be able to put her in that position. The new AP at Bessie Rhodes is a native speaking Latina. So like, these are the things that we're doing, setting us up for the long game to really, to dig in, to try to destroy that 40-year itch that you mentioned, Ndona. And it took 40 years to get here. We don't have 40 years to change it. My contract is not that long, so we have to get to the core of changing this now. So, all right.
Well, some great work, so much work that you just threw in there, that social studies curriculum. Mr. Mann, I know we're running a little over, but what can we expect? I'm really excited about that.
So I'll say this. Stay tuned. We're going to be sending out some communication to our families and our community members. We're going to have this series. It's called History Maker. So follow me. We know what has been happening in our country. We can't shy away from it. It's been anything you talk about equity or true history, people want to label it CRT. We're not doing CRT in any capacity. But what we are doing is telling true history. So History Maker series, at the end of this month, we're going to have a guest, an African-American historian, is going to come in, and we're going to talk about our curriculum. So this is Ms. Dillard and Dr. Beardsley who's leading this. They're going to talk about our curriculum, right, and the overall arching piece of that. And then the African-American historian is going to have about a 45-minute to an hour segment speaking about really deep history for African-Americans. And then we're going to have our team go into the actual content of our new social studies curriculum and show how this works. Then in October, we're going to do the same thing. And I don't know the order of the months. We're going to have someone for Latinx history in October, someone for LGBTQ plus in November, someone with Evanston local history in December. Like, we're going to do these series. It's going to be a Zoom, and we're hoping that we get some great participation from the community so everyone can get engaged in the community. I know we haven't done anything like that before, but it's that important for us that we're transparent. We're sharing how we are leading and how we're expecting our students to be educated once they walk out of the doors of 65.
Sounds exciting. Please keep us in the loop. We will definitely push it out there as well. Thank you so much for coming on, being so transparent. We're going to expect you once a quarter now, since you're not in the schedule. Right. I'm going to look for you and your board member. Come on and let us know what's going on, because it's a lot going on. And we just appreciate you. We know it's you've been here a year. It feels like 10, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
So much has gone on, and you have persevered, and we really, really appreciate you and know that we support you as a community. So again, thank you. Thank you, advocates, for coming on. I hope everyone has a wonderful Saturday. Stay safe. All right. And we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
To Evanston Cradle to Career Advocates for Action on Radio La Difference Chicago. Please tune in again next Saturday for another show.
showing us the way.